Hello, it's Steve here from Extreme Wiki Poster, or EWP as I'll refer to it from here on in. And I want to tell you, as I've said, primarily about EWP, Extreme Wiki Poster. I'm looking at version 1.2.4 at the moment, and it's a constantly evolving tool. There are future updates planned, a whole series of updates. It's a really exciting time to be involved with this poster, and it really does kick butt. Now let me explain to you briefly what it's all about and give you a quick guided tour around all the various aspects of the dashboard and the controls. It's very much like driving a car, only this car is a Ferrari, this car is a Maserati, it is a Porsche. It really does, if you want to, it will fly, it will push, it will post as fast and as hard as you necessarily want it to. Okay, so without further ado, let's cut to the chase to continue the car theme. We've got 5 buttons across the top here. We've got main, import, export, settings and extras. Now the main one, again, that's you just, depending on where you are in Extreme Wiki Poster, click back to main, it brings you back to the main part of the dashboard. Import, if you need to load proxies because you're going to run this as a high mileage operation and you're just going to be blasting out all the time and you think you need a bit of coverage, you will need proxies. This is how you would load the proxies, okay? Same time, this button down here is load the sites. Fairly explanatory. I'll explain to that in detail further on. Next button, export. Now, 2 things about any useful submission tool. You've got to be able to import data and information easily. More importantly, I would say, you've got to export the pertinent data so you know how it's performing, how you can drive your reports, etc. With wikis, with this type of wiki, certainly the one we're looking at the moment, Media Wiki, you can post on the title page of a wiki or your own user page if you created your own wiki. What you have to do is know where those are. These export functions will tell you exactly where the title page or where your user page is, okay? But more importantly, just so that knowing where the success is, you've got to know where your failures are. And this is where here this item of functionality comes in. So as you say, you can produce 2 successes, know where you on the title page or your user page, but more importantly, let's say you've made 4,000 wiki submissions and for whatever reason only 3,000 have worked. You've got to know where the 500 that didn't work are, and at the end of the day this will output to a text file so it's nice and clear and you'll be able to print out and look at, yeah, okay, those are the 500 wikis that aren't working. May well be a case that they're ones you have to go back to manually and submit to. Could be a whole number of reasons for, or there could be networks down or whatever, but either way it's essential that you know. 4th button here, your capture settings. At the moment the capture service that EWP works and supports is Death by Capture, which is an amazing service, really is good, and you'll find out when we go through a test submission later on how easy it is and how economical on captures. This here gives you the ability, if you don't want to post on user pages, leave that unticked and it will only post on title pages of wikis. Okay. 5th button here, extras. At the moment there's 2 of them. One, unbelievably, is send suggestion. How often do you hear that with applications nowadays? The people behind EWP are extremely proactive, very, very reactive. You get in touch with them about an issue, they're on it straight away. And if you've got a suggestion about increased functionality, click the button here, send them a suggestion. They really are always interested. This little button here, as it says, you click on there for updates. If you want to know exactly if there's a new version of EWP out, click on that and it'll automatically update and it'll contact the mothership. But you've got 2 things there. You can either update up here, or as with most cases, there are 2 things to do everything in EWP. Either click update here or you click down here. When it first came out a couple of weeks ago, it was on 1.0.0 or 1.0.1. It's now on 1.2.4, so you can see exactly how quickly this has evolved. Okay, so that's what you do. Now down here is the extra part of the dashboard, and this is really, it equates quite easily with a car dashboard in many ways. 2 little tabs here, really useful, really cool functionality. On the right it says Wiki Poster, 16 megabytes of RAM. That's how much megabytes of RAM it would need to use in its current configuration. At the moment, CPU 0, it's not doing anything. Here says free RAM 794 megabytes. That's how much free RAM there is available on the system I'm running at the moment. And at the moment, the CPU is running pretty idle, going anywhere from between about 12 to 18%. Okay, so it's bags of capacity with CPU. A little button down here called change. Now you can have multiple installs and multiple instances of EWP on your PC or laptop. This button here gives you the ability to label profiles and to enter what they call instance names, so you know exactly at any one time what is going on. You just click on that. All right, yeah, that's the profile, these are the wikis, etc., etc. Across here, current state. This is a quick report. At the moment it's idle because we haven't set up a submission run, but it gives you percentage, it gives you the success figures in in numbers, failures, and tells you whereabouts in the total list you've got to at that point. Now, the little button under here, thread settings. This is the accelerator or the choke of the entire application. This dictates how fast, and boy, if you want to, this flies, or slow this submitter will run. Two things: the faster the application is running, the greater the risk of missing out on some of the wikis. That's not due to any fault of the application. That's due to the fact that network conditions at times will mean that certain wikis will respond slower than others. Therefore, the faster the number, the greater the number of threads, and we've run it up to 100 threads. By God, did it rip through! You've got a much greater risk of going through and getting the odd failure. Slower, obviously, much more thorough. So I would recommend anywhere between about 5 to 10 threads should see you right. Down here, event log. Now that basically tells you everything that's going on. So when we import some sites, it'll tell us we've imported the sites. Now the really cool thing about this utility is that, let's say you've acquired wiki lists from a number of vendors and you've got no ability to be able to prune which ones are unique and which ones aren't. No problems. This will do it for you. All you would do is take all your lists, compile them into one file, and as we will show, when you import it, EWP automatically drills down and filters everything down so you do not submit to more than one wiki per domain per submission. How cool is that, eh? Really good. So, we've explained to you all the background of everything. Why don't we go through a dummy submission and you can see exactly what we're talking about. So, we go up here, proxy sites. At the moment, I'm going to submit to a wide number of wikis. I'm not going to use any proxies, but if you did, this is where you would enter them. If you make a mistake, you want to clear it, as it says, the button says, clear the list. I'm just thinking about sites at this particular point in time, so I'm going to click the load button, and it's immediately open up my hard disk. And what do I want to do? I'm going to make 283 submissions. A little list we generated, so you can see down here it's giving you exactly time of what's happened. 23, 30 minutes, 55 seconds. We imported 283 URLs. I'm going to get an article. Click the load button. It's going to take me back to the same place where all my articles are. I'm just going to run a generic article here. Okay, so we've got the article imported. We've got our sites in. We've left our proxies blank. Lastly, we need to check, or actually next but last, we need to check on our user accounts. So we go back to the button here, main, go on to user settings, drop down here. Now, this is really cool. If you want to run a straightforward submission and keep it to one account, here is where you would enter your username and your password. Okay? But let's say that you don't necessarily want to run anything that's traceable at any one time. It's got a facility here to randomize. What that does is it takes a random first name and a random last name and puts a number next to it. So at the moment we're looking at Winters Thomason 908. Now let's say you also want to randomize the password, because at the end of the day you're not really going to be dipping in and out of these wikis ever again, but you just want to make sure there's no footprint. You click randomize. Now, if I left it like that, every wiki would be a Winters Thomason 908 wiki. But I don't want that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click here, randomize username for every site. This means that after every submission, it's going to automatically generate a new username. It's going to leave no footprint whatsoever, or minimal footprint. I click OK. So, we come down here to the thread settings, and as I said the last time, we want between 5 and 10. I'm going to put 5 because I just want to demonstrate how it works quite slowly. So, I'm going to go to the site list. I'm going to open that, so I'm going to be able to monitor everything now. We've loaded in our sites. We've loaded in the article. We select our user preferences. We are ready to go. So I'm going to press start, and it automatically imports 5 sites from my list. And as you can see, it's now automatically registering. It's failed on 2 of them, but as you can see, that's not really that much of a problem, because more importantly, they're obviously open registration or open wikis, and you can automatically post. It's telling me here I can post. So you can see here, total list so far, I've submitted to 7. I've got 7 successes, 8 now, 9. So it's really starting to motor. And at the moment, we haven't used any captures yet. So as you can see, 10 submissions, 11 submissions, 11 successes, 12, etc., etc. Tells me here that the amount of usage on the CPU is minimum, oscillating between 0 and 1%. And it says here, this is what's going on in the rest of the computer. So, as we can see, 14 submissions, 14 successes. We haven't had to use any captures yet. No captures whatsoever. Last time I ran a submission of about 3,500 wikis, we used up the princely sum of about 35 captures. And considering the cost of captures is currently $1.39 for 1,000 captures, that is negligible. So, we've covered everything. You can see how it works. We've shown you how to import proxies and the sites, import an article, set everything up and running, get your username, password facility. The only thing to do now is sit back, let it work its magic, go off, make the tea, have lunch, take the dog for a walk, whatever, because you don't have to do anything. So, just to sum up, because I want to go over some results here, it shows you here we've made 29 submissions so far, but 2 have failed. That's not a problem, because we're all marketers of the world here, and we all recognise that not every wiki is open at any one time. A lot of these are public wikis. The server might be down. It may well be that the wiki is down. And that's why this function up here with the export, and I can't do it clicking at the moment because we're actually in the midst of a submission, but this function up here with export with the failed sites is so important, because I've been busy talking to you, or I may be looking at something else, so I wasn't spotting where that failure was. Now when it's finished, I have the ability to go up and down here and manually check, but that's a pain in the neck. If I just do an export failures, it'll tell me exactly what's going on. That's how cool this tool is. So listen, once again, it's Steve talking to you here from EWP, Extreme Wiki Poster. Thank you very much for your time, and I look forward to speaking and hearing from you soon. Take care. Bye bye.